Hi, my name's Glenn. This is Karen, my wife, and this is our bus. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm working on the bus again today. I'm still waiting to figure out what I'm going to do with the foam on the ceiling where it didn't quite fill all the cavities, but I'm working on some things on that, and I certainly will share a video on that when it comes time. So today, being that I can't really work inside the bus since I have all the plastic up and all the prep work is still in place there, what I plan on doing is installing my new lock set in the door of the bus. So I have a similar lock set that I installed in my other bus, and I'll show you that here in a minute. And in the meantime, I've got some other parts that I'm kind of assembling for this one. This one I'm going to do a little bit different than that door. But here is the other door on the other bus. So the other bus door here, if you can look at the context here, the main door. So this latch works very well. What I had to do though, because the door is about 2.5 inches thick, I ended up installing this flush mount toolbox handle or latch. Of course, I removed all the latch and everything. I just wanted to have this depth here that's about 3/4 inch deep, so that I could set the lock back inside the door. So so what that's enabled me to do is to accommodate for this extra thickness here. But what I'm doing different on the other door, well anyway, I'll show you what I'm doing different on the other door, but that worked very well for this door. Okay, so I'm back out at the O2 MCI, and so the other side of that door latch is here, and it'll mount just about right here down inside the door, enough to where I can still get my fingers plenty here, similar to the other door. But what I'm doing here, and notice also that the door has this circle here already cut out for part of it, so it's just the skin that I have to go through for the new latch. And this is some backing plate here that's installed. So, and I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 3/4 inch back set. And mind you that this latch is not the only latch. So this is only for this latch is only for going in and out of the bus. When we're camping or whatever, you can slam the door and it'll shut and latch. This latch here is set up for when we're driving to give a better deadbolt scenario. And I've rekeyed all that. I've got new keys for that stuff, and of course I did all the keys alike. That works very well, and I'll have that functional inside the bus, of course. So anyway, so what I've done here is I picked up this piece of black plastic here, right here. It's the thickness that I need, and I've done some carving on it here a little bit, so that it'll fit inside this cavity here. I haven't quite put it in yet, but so it'll go in to where the back side here will actually hit up against this lip sticking out here, right here, and then this piece here, or this edge, will go up inside there as far as I can get it to go, hopefully tight up against the inside of the door jamb. So so with that piece in there, what that does is it creates some body. So when I drill the hole through here, the 2 1/8 inch hole, and then the 1 inch hole on the edge for the latch, it'll have plenty of body in here, so the stuff isn't jiggling around inside. What I did on the other bus is I filled the cavity with epoxy, and then I drilled out after the fact, and that worked pretty good, but not quite as good, I don't think, as what this black plastic will work. So this is a solid chunk of plastic. I've got about $25 into this chunk, and then the lock set, which is a Kwikset, I have about $50 into that. And so this piece here will go on the edge. This will countersink down inside. And anyway, and so hopefully that'll work pretty good. So that's what I'm working on, and we'll see how that comes out. And one of the things I have to do here is I just have to finish kind of cleaning out this rubber and stuff that's in here, and just clean this out good so that it'll receive that plastic in here. I could even put some shoe bolts through the door to hold that plastic in super tight, but I don't think that'll be necessary. I think once I press that in and then the doorknob and everything goes in, I could even maybe put some silicone or something just to stabilize it. The silicone won't really stick to that plastic very well, but it'll stabilize it in there. And if something comes loose later, I could always bolt it again. I just have these stainless bolts sticking out on this side, which I don't really care to have. You know, the shoe bolts are not too awful bad looking, but anyway, but I'm going to try to avoid that. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, everybody. So now I'm drilling with my I believe it's only a 2-inch hole saw, but that's the same hole saw I used on the other door. 2 1/8 technically is the size you're supposed to use, but it worked for the other door with the same lock. So this is a carbide tip bit, or blade I should say, or hole saw, so it should be able to drill it pretty good. So I'm through the stainless steel skin, and I'll proceed into my black plastic insert. Even though the sun's down, it's still pretty hot out here. Pretty good. It's a little higher than I wanted it to be, but I can adjust that. Pretty good. So basically this is what it looks like from the outside. It's actually a pretty good looking setup when it's done. And from the inside, I've got this routed out here, but I've got to just take a little more off the top there, so this will sink in to where it's almost flush. So that still gives me plenty of finger room here, and it's a pretty good setup. But for now, I'm gonna have to quit because it's too dark outside. So I'll just probably finish this up tomorrow and videotape the completion of it. Okay, so now it's the next morning and I'm out here working on the bus. I didn't sleep out here. Sometimes wish I could, but anyway, so I'm working on this door latch still, and I've got my my hole marked out for the edge of the door. My pilot hole going that larger circle, and I want the leading edge of the latch to be lined up with this line right here. So what I'm gonna do is drill a series of holes, smaller to larger, till I get to the size of my pilot hole. My pilot bit's kind of worn out from the last time I drilled stainless with it. But this is a 1-inch hole saw that's carbide tipped, and it's still in pretty good shape. So I'm hoping to be able to drill that through there and hook the latch up to the doorknob assembly. So that's what I'm working on, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm getting close to getting through with this hole saw. The problem is when you're drilling in this plastic, you can't just pull the chunk of material out like you could with wood. With wood, you can get in so far, you can break some of it out, and then you can get in deeper. All it's doing is just melting now as it's trying to cut. So I need to figure out a way to dig some of this plastic out of here so I can cut the rest of it out. It's just about through, but I don't want it to just melt and be all messed up in there. Anyway, but you can see how this has worked out really well here with this insetting this door latch assembly, and this should be a pretty good setup. One thing I did do is I made this indentation a little bit too deep. The way it turned out, by the time I figured out where my latch needed to hit back behind here, it's a little bit too far towards the inside assembly, so I'll have to just put a spacer in there and just bring it out maybe 1/8 of an inch, if that. But other than that, this so far it's working out pretty good, so I'll just keep plugging along on this. Okay, so I've almost got this finished up. It's just the latch is a little bit bound up. It doesn't spring back. Well, I guess it's better now. Anyway, it just seems a little bound up. So probably have to take it out, make some adjustments. But basically what it does is it latches, and That's pretty good. The latch here is actually just hitting behind the aluminum here. So I have enough play in it here to where I can add a piece of metal behind here. And also it's just hitting the rubber. So there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I was thinking that I might be able to take the door latch piece here and do something to modify this to be up here somewhere to where it has a hard surface to hit here, but obviously this can't be sticking out in the way of the door, so I have to grind that off. So, but I could probably put this piece in here so that the latch catches behind here, goes in this hole. I'll build this up behind it and grind this off maybe here, and create that leading edge for it to hit on. But in the meantime, it does work, and the amount of play that it has is just exactly what I need by the time I add the that piece of metal to it. Actually, if I slam it hard enough, the second piece is going up inside, which you don't want it to do. That's the piece that as long as if this goes in, then this latch can't be just shimmied in with a credit card. Of course, you're not going to get into this thing with a credit card anyway, the way this is set up. But anyway, but that's the purpose of this little round bump here. A lot of people, they install these so the round part goes up inside the latch, and that does away with the security of the latch itself. But in this case here, I've got this huge flange, plus I've got the deadbolt, so I'm not putting this lock on for security purposes, more for just daily operations. So I'll do a little more modifying on it, and I'll probably go ahead and do a finish up video on that as we see how it works. So thanks for watching. So on the store jamb on the bus, I'm actually threading the hole. I've drilled the hole out. Now I'm threading it, and I'm just using some WD-40 for cutting oil here, if you will. And so I'll cut these two holes out, and then I'm going to install this basically on the surface, kind of like this, except up there, of course. And I'll put a couple of spacers in between there, and then when the door hits this rubber, it'll just barely hit the rubber, and then it'll hit the steel. So it should keep that rubber from wearing out, and so I think that's going to work pretty good. We'll see how that goes. So basically what I've done here is I've got this piece all installed here. I filled that with silicone back in there, and I actually glued this in place before I put the screws in and the spacers and everything. And some people think I'm crazy about that, but what it does is it just acts as a stabilizer, so this doesn't start just jiggling loose. If you don't have anything in there, just the slightest little movement, pretty soon the whole thing's working loose and falling out basically. So the screws are siliconed in, that kind of acts like a Loctite, and then the whole piece is glued to the door jamb, and the spacers are glued under and everything and around everything. So that should keep this pretty stable. Now again, this is only for practical application for daily use. It's not for the security of the bus, but it works very well actually. So with that, I'm pretty pleased. Now this here, I probably need to adjust this a little bit. It's just got a little bit of an angle to it here, but I can live with that for now. Maybe I'll go ahead and work on that. But that's going to kind of involve this side here a little bit, where I've got this block all, chunked out here. I had a hard time getting this thing back in place once I had the latch in, but it all worked out. And anyway, but I did get it to loosen up okay, where it springs back all right. And so this will make a pretty good entry door situation. Oh, one more thing. Basically, so when the door latch is hitting here, it would just barely touch the rubber, because that door latch is about a 45-degree angle. It would just barely touch the rubber before it would actually hit the steel part. so that rubber shouldn't be affected. So as you can see there, I'm just barely moving it with my finger. That's what that door latch would do, is just barely touch that rubber before it finally hits the steel. Just to sum this video up, so I've got the latch installed, the door works good, and the other lock locks easily. You got to push in the door just a tiny bit, which means it's nice and snug. And so basically I'm pretty pleased with that. So this, just to sum this up, this is a Kwikset door lock. I bought it at Lowe's for like $49 or whatever. I've got about $25 into this piece of plastic, which really just gives it a solid body. If you mount it in something that's hollow, then you're just going to end up with it's just going to get jiggly after a while, and this here won't stay tight in there. And the way this all came out, it went in there really snug. Everything is really tight, even before I put the screws in. So this should last for many years like this. And anyway, I'm very happy with the way this came out. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll have some more videos to come. I'm hoping to get something resolved with my lackluster foam job pretty soon. So I'll of course do another video on that, and we'll see how that goes. So anyways, that sums up this video. So take care of yourselves, and I hope you enjoyed it.